The medical bay was quiet except for the soft humming of machines. Dr. Kim Tae-ho stood in front of a large glass tank filled with blue liquid. Inside the tank, a young woman floated peacefully. Her name was Choi Min-ah, and she was dying. Doctor. Kim looked at the numbers on his screen for the third time today. Each time he hoped they would be different. Each time they were the same. The bright red letters showed the same terrible message. Survival rate, 2.1%. Dr. Kim, said Park So-jin, his assistant. She walked into the room carrying a cup of coffee. Have you been here all night again? Dr. Kim rubbed his tired eyes. The test results came back from the Galactic Medical Center. It's not good news. Park So-jin set down her coffee and looked at the screen. Her face went pale. 2%? That's almost nothing. The alien sickness she caught on Kepler 442b is unlike anything we've seen before, Dr. Kim said. He pulled up more data on his computer. It attacks her cells from the inside. Her body is breaking down faster than we can fix it. Min-ah had been part of Earth's first deep space mission to find new planets for humans to live on. She was a scientist who studied alien life forms. 3 weeks ago, her team had found something on the planet's surface, something that should have stayed buried. The planet Kepler 442b was supposed to be empty of life. The scans from Earth showed no signs of living things, but when Min-ah's team landed, they found ruins, ancient buildings made by some long-dead alien race, and in those ruins they found something waiting. Tell me again what happened on the planet, Park So-jin said as she checked Min-ah's vital signs. Dr. Kim pulled up the mission report. Min-ah and her team were exploring the northern continent. They found an underground complex about 50 meters below the surface. Inside, they discovered what looked like a laboratory or research facility. He paused and took a sip of his cold coffee. Min-ah was always the curious one. While the others were taking pictures and measurements, she touched something she shouldn't have. Some kind of container filled with a strange liquid. And that's when she got sick. Not right away. The symptoms didn't start until they were back on the ship. First, she felt tired. Then came the fever. By the time they made it back to Earth, her blood was full of unknown organisms. The machines around Min-ah's tank started beeping louder. Her heart rate was going up. Dr. Kim quickly checked all the readings. Everything looked wrong. Her body temperature is rising again, Park So-jin said with worry in her voice. Should I give her more medicine to bring it down? We've already given her everything we have. Her body isn't responding to any of our treatments. Dr. Kim felt helpless. In 30 years of being a doctor, he had never seen anything like this. Suddenly, Min-ah's eyes opened inside the tank. The blue liquid around her started to bubble. She looked directly at Dr. Kim through the glass. Her lips moved, but no sound came out. She's trying to say something, Park So-jin said. She pressed a button to activate the communication system. Min-ah, can you hear us? Min-ah's voice came through the speakers, weak but clear. Doctor, I need to tell you something important. Don't try to talk, Dr. Kim said gently. You need to save your strength. No, listen to me. Min-ah's voice was getting stronger, not weaker. This surprised both doctors. What I found on that planet, it wasn't just some old alien sickness. What do you mean? Park So-jin asked. The iodine liquid I touched, it had writing on the container, symbols. I've been having dreams about them. I can understand what they mean now. Min-ah pressed her hand against the inside of the tank. It said for the worthy ones who come after. Dr. Kim frowned. Min-ah, you have a very high fever. Sometimes that can cause hallucinations and strange dreams. This isn't a fever dream. Min-ah's voice was getting louder. There are others watching us. Other alien races. They've been watching Earth for a long time. They set up tests for new species like us. The heart monitor showed Min-ah's pulse was getting faster, but strangely all her other vital signs were getting better. Her blood oxygen was higher than it had been in days. They think humans are weak, Min-ah continued. They think we'll die out quickly like so many other young species. But they're wrong about us. Park So-jin looked at Dr. Kim with confused eyes. Her medical readings are improving. How is that possible? Dr. Kim studied the numbers carefully. I don't know. According to everything we know about this sickness, she should be getting worse, not better. Doctor, Mina said, her voice now strong and clear. I can feel something changing inside me. The alien organisms in my blood. They're not just attacking my cells anymore. They're changing them. Changing them how? Making them stronger, faster, better. Mina moved in the tank with more energy than she had shown in weeks. My vision is getting sharper. I can hear sounds I never heard before, and I can sense things that aren't in this room. Dr. Kim checked his instruments again. All the readings were impossible. Mina's muscle density was increasing, her bone strength was going up, even her brain activity was higher than normal human levels. I think the liquid I found wasn't meant to kill, Mina said. I think it was meant to change whoever was strong enough to survive it, like a test. A test for what? Park So-jin asked. Mina looked at both doctors through the glass. Her eyes seemed brighter than before, almost glowing. A test to see if humans deserve to join the galaxy, and I think I'm about to pass it. The machines around the tank suddenly started making different sounds. Instead of the slow, weak beeps they had been making for days, they were now making fast, strong signals. All the red warning lights turned green. Her vital signs are now above normal human ranges, Park So-jin said in amazement. This is impossible. Dr. Kim stared at the numbers. In all his years of medicine, he had never seen anything like it. A patient who was supposed to die was becoming stronger than any human had ever been. They gave me a 2% chance of living, Mina said with a smile that seemed different somehow, more confident, more dangerous. I think I'm going to prove them very wrong. Outside the medical bay, far above in space, something was watching. Something that had been waiting for this moment for a very long time. Far away from Earth in the deep darkness of space, a massive structure floated between the stars. It was bigger than most planets and made of materials that sparkled like diamonds. This was the Nexus Arena, home to the most powerful beings in the galaxy. Inside the arena's main control room, dozens of different alien creatures watched screens that showed Mina and her medical tank. Some had multiple eyes, others had no eyes at all. Some floated in the air while others stood on legs that looked like tree branches. At the center of the room sat Supreme Arbiter Veldan. His body was made of living crystal that changed colors when he spoke. Right now, those crystals were glowing red with annoyance. The human specimen is not dying as predicted, Veldan said, his voice sounding like breaking glass. Our calculations showed she would be dead by now. Governor Nixra laughed with a sound like chattering insects. His species had ruled the arena for over 1,000 years. They looked like giant praying mantises with silver skin and sharp claws. Perhaps our tests are getting too easy. Maybe we should make them harder. Elder Kiorath, the oldest being in the room, studied the readings more carefully. His species looked like walking trees with glowing bark. They lived for thousands of years and were very wise. Wait. Look at these brain patterns. Even though her body was dying, her mind was getting stronger. This is very unusual. Unusual how? Asked Commander Ziltek, whose people looked like floating jellyfish made of metal. All dying creatures have strange brain patterns. No, this is different, Kiorath said, pointing at the screen. Her mental activity increased by 400% during the worst part of her sickness. Normal dying brains do not do this. Veldan's crystals turned yellow, which meant he was thinking hard. Show me the data from when she first touched the test container on Kepler 442b. The screens around the room changed to show recordings from 3 weeks ago. They watched Mina exploring the underground ruins with her team. They saw her find the strange container and touch the liquid inside. The preparation serum was designed to kill weak species quickly, said Dr. Morax, the arena's chief scientist. His people looked like walking octopuses with purple skin. Only 1 in 1,000,000 beings can survive it. And of those, only 1 in 1,000 can complete the change. What change? Nixra asked, suddenly very interested. The serum doesn't just test if someone can live through poison, Dr. Morax explained. It tests if their species has the potential to evolve, to become something better than what they were. On the screen, they could see Mina's body changing inside the medical tank. Her muscles were getting denser. Her bones were getting stronger. Even her hair seemed to shine brighter. Her cellular structure is rebuilding itself, Dr. Morax continued. The serum is using her own DNA to make improvements. Humans apparently have very good base genetics for this process. Elder Keorath leaned forward with interest. How good? Better than any species we've tested in the last 500 years. The room went very quiet. Many of the aliens looked at each other with worry. For centuries, they had used the arena to keep new species from joining the galaxy. They would give impossible tests to young civilizations and then laugh when they failed. But humans were different. Mina was proving that her species might actually pass the tests. This cannot be allowed, Nixra said angrily. If humans join the galactic community, they might upset the natural order. My people have worked too hard to maintain control. Veldan's crystals turned dark blue, which meant he was making an important decision. We will offer the human a formal challenge. If she accepts, she must complete 3 trials in the arena. If she succeeds, humanity gets full membership in the galactic community. And if she fails? Asked Commander Ziltek. If she fails, humanity will be marked as a failed species. They will never be allowed to leave their home planet or contact other worlds. Dr. Morax looked worried. But Supreme Arbiter, what if she actually passes all 3 trials? That is impossible, Nixra said with confidence. No new species has ever passed all 3 trials on their first attempt. The physical trial requires strength beyond normal biological limits. The mental trial has puzzles that have stumped our greatest minds. And the survival trial, well, most beings don't survive it. The human will fail and her species will be restricted to Earth forever, Veldan declared. Prepare the invitation message. Back on Earth, Mina was now standing, outside her medical tank. The blue liquid had been drained away and she was wearing a simple white medical gown. But she looked nothing like the dying woman from just hours before. Her eyes were brighter and seemed to see everything at once. Her movements were smooth and controlled like a trained dancer. When she spoke, her voice was clear and strong. Something is coming, she told Dr. Kim and Park Sojin. I can feel it. Someone is trying to communicate with us. Communicate how? Dr. Kim asked. He was still amazed by Mina's transformation and wasn't sure what to believe. They're sending a message through quantum frequencies, Mina said. I don't know how I know that, but I can sense it getting closer. Park Sojin was checking her instruments. I'm detecting some kind of energy pattern approaching Earth. It's like nothing we've ever seen before. Suddenly, the air in the medical bay started to shimmer. A 3-dimensional image appeared in front of them. It showed the crystal form of Supreme Arbiter Veldan. Greetings, human Mina, the image said. I am Veldan, Supreme Arbiter of the Nexus Arena. You have survived the preparation serum which few beings can do. This grants you the right to attempt the trials of ascension. Mina stepped forward without fear. What are these trials? 3 tests that will determine if your species deserves to join the galactic community. Physical combat, mental challenges, and survival instinct. Pass all 3, and humanity will be welcomed among the stars. Fail anyone, and your species will be forever banned from space travel. Dr. Kim moved to stand beside Mina. She doesn't have to accept. This is too dangerous. But Mina was already smiling, and it was not a friendly smile. They thought I would die from their test. They gave me a 2% chance of survival. Now they want to test all of humanity based on what I can do. She looked directly at Veldan's hologram. I accept your challenge, but I want you to know something first. What is that, human? You made this personal when you tried to kill me. Now I'm going to show you what happens when a human takes something personally. The hologram flickered and disappeared. Within minutes, a transport ship appeared in Earth's atmosphere, waiting to take Mina to the arena. As she prepared to leave, Mina turned to Dr. Kim one last time. If I don't come back, tell them I tried. You'll come back, Dr. Kim said, with certainty he didn't really feel. You're stronger than they know, Mina smiled. I'm about to find out just how strong. The alien transport ship was unlike anything Mina had ever seen. The walls seemed to be alive, pulsing with soft light. There were no visible controls or buttons, yet the ship moved smoothly through space, faster than any human technology could manage. Her escort was a creature called Guide Torek. He looked like a large lizard walking on two legs with green scales and yellow eyes. He had been watching Mina carefully since she came aboard. You are much smaller than I expected, Torek said in a hissing voice. The arena's database said humans were larger and more aggressive. Maybe your database needs updating, Mina replied. She was looking out the window at the stars rushing past. With her enhanced vision, she could see details in space that would have been invisible before. The mortality rate for first-time challengers is 73%, Torek continued. Are you certain you wish to proceed with the trials? Mina turned to look at him. Those are much better odds than I had 3 days ago. The ship suddenly slowed down, and Mina got her first look at the Nexus arena. It was enormous, like a small moon made of glowing crystal and metal. Thousands of smaller ships moved around it like insects around a light. How many beings live here? Mina asked. The arena houses representatives from 412 different species, Torek said, with what might have been pride. It is the center of galactic civilization. As their ship docked, Mina could feel something else. Her enhanced senses were picking up emotions from the thousands of aliens inside the structure. Fear, excitement, anger, and something else. Something like hunger. They're all here to watch me fail, aren't they? She asked. Torek's yellow eyes blinked slowly. Many believe humans are too weak for galactic membership. Others are curious about your species. A few are actually hoping you will succeed. And what do you think? I think, Torek said quietly, that underestimating humans might be a mistake. The main arena chamber was breathtaking. It was so large that clouds formed near the ceiling. Thousands of alien beings filled the viewing areas, their various forms of communication creating a symphony of strange sounds. In the center of the chamber was a platform where Supreme Arbiter Veldan waited. His crystal body was now glowing bright white, which Mina somehow knew meant he was excited. Welcome, human Mina, to the Nexus Arena, Veldan's voice boomed across the vast space. You will face 3 trials. Physical dominance, where you will fight our champion, intellectual supremacy, where you will solve an ancient puzzle, and survival instinct, where you will face the deadliest creatures in the galaxy. The crowd made various sounds of approval. Many of them had probably seen hundreds of species fail these same tests. Success in all 3 trials grants your species full membership in the galactic community, Veldan continued. Failure in any trial results in immediate termination and permanent banishment for humanity. Mina walked to the center of the platform. As she moved, she noticed something the aliens couldn't see. Her enhanced nervous system was picking up patterns everywhere. The energy flows in the arena's walls, the mathematical relationships in the architecture, even the behavioral patterns of the watching aliens. The arena wasn't just a testing ground. It was a machine designed to maintain the current power structure. And like all machines, it had weaknesses. I understand the rules, Mina said, her voice carrying clearly across the chamber. But I have a question. What is your question, human? What happens if I don't just pass your trials, but I completely change how they work? The chamber went very quiet. Veldan's crystals flickered between colors as he tried to understand what she meant. The trials have remained the same for over 2,000 years, he said finally. They cannot be changed. Mina smiled. We'll see about that. Let's begin. The first trial chamber opened beneath the platform. Mina descended on a floating disc while the crowd cheered above. The chamber was circular, about 100 meters across, with walls that looked like black glass. Waiting for her in the center was the arena's physical champion, a being called Brexton. He was 3 meters tall and covered in natural armor plating that looked like polished stone. He had 4 arms, each ending in claws that could cut through steel. "I have defeated 347 challengers," Brexton said in a voice like grinding rocks. "You will be number 348. "Maybe," Minna said, studying his movements as he circled her. "Or maybe you're about to learn something new." Brexton charged at her with incredible speed. His 4 arms moved in a pattern designed to give opponents no escape. It was a technique that had never failed. But Minna wasn't there when his claws reached the spot where she had been standing. She had moved faster than his eyes could follow, sliding under his attack and striking upward at a joint in his armor. Brexton roared in surprise and pain. In 300 years of fighting, no one had ever hit him in that exact spot. "How did you know where to strike?" he demanded. "Your armor has a pattern," Minna said, already moving again as he swung at her. "Everything has a pattern if you know how to look for it." The crowd above was getting louder. They had never seen their champion actually hurt before. Minna continued to move around Brexton like water flowing around a rock. Every time he attacked, she was somewhere else. Every time she struck back, she hit exactly where his armor was, weakest. But she wasn't just winning the fight. She was studying the arena itself. The walls, the floor, the energy systems that controlled everything. Her enhanced mind was mapping it all, finding patterns and connections that the arena's builders had never intended anyone to see. "You fight strangely for such a small creature," Brexton panted. He was getting tired while Minna seemed to have endless energy. "I'm not fighting," Minna said as she dodged another clawed hand. "I'm learning." She struck one final time, hitting a pressure point that her enhanced senses had located. Brexton's massive body went limp and he collapsed to the floor, unconscious but unharmed. The crowd above erupted in shock and anger. Their unbeatable champion had been defeated by a human who was barely half his size. Supreme Arbiter Veldan's crystals were now flashing between multiple colors rapidly, which meant he was very confused and worried. "The first trial is complete," he announced reluctantly. "Prepare for the intellectual supremacy trial." As Minna was lifted back to the main platform, she could feel thousands of alien minds focused on her, some with respect, others with fear, and many with growing anger. But she wasn't worried about their reactions. She was thinking about what she had learned from studying the arena during her fight. The second trial was about to begin, and she had a feeling it was going to be very different from what the aliens expected. "Ready for the next test?" Veldan asked. Minna looked up at the massive alien audience, then back at the crystal being who thought he controlled everything. "Actually," she said, "I think it's time we change the rules of this game." The second trial chamber was completely different from the first. Minna found herself standing in a room filled with floating geometric shapes that glowed with different colors. Each shape had symbols carved into its surface, and they all moved, in complex patterns through the air. "The puzzle of eternal wisdom," announced Supreme Arbiter Veldan from above. "This challenge has stumped the greatest minds in the galaxy for over 1,500 years. You must arrange the shapes into the correct pattern to unlock the solution." Minna looked around the room. There were hundreds of shapes floating at different heights and angles. The mathematical complexity should have been overwhelming, but her enhanced mind saw something else entirely. "How long do most people spend trying to solve this?" she asked. "The average attempt lasts 14 hours, Veldan replied. "The record for the fastest failure is 6 hours and 23 minutes. "Interesting," Minna said. She wasn't looking at the shapes anymore. She was looking at the walls, the ceiling, the energy patterns that controlled the floating objects. In the viewing area above, Elder Kiorath leaned forward with interest. "She's not studying the puzzle itself. She's studying how the puzzle works." "Governor," Nixra clicked his mandibles angrily. "The human is wasting time. She should be trying to solve the arrangement." "No," Dr. Morak said quietly. "She's doing something much more dangerous than that." Minna had found what she was looking for. Hidden in the chamber's control systems were the original programming codes that created the puzzle. But more importantly, she had found something the arena's builders never expected anyone to discover. "This puzzle doesn't actually have a solution, does it?" she called up to Veldan. The crystal being's colors flickered nervously. What do you mean? I mean, this isn't a test of intelligence. It's a test of persistence. You want to see how long someone will keep trying to solve something that can't be solved. How long before they give up and accept failure? The chamber went very quiet. In 1500 years, no one had figured out the puzzle's true purpose. But here's the thing, Mina continued. I'm not here to play by your rules anymore. She reached out and touched one of the floating shapes. The moment her fingers made contact, her enhanced nervous system connected directly with the chamber's control network. Alarms started blaring throughout the arena. The floating shapes began, moving in completely new patterns, forming arrangements that had never existed before. What is she doing? Nixra demanded. Dr. Morax was staring at his instruments in amazement. She's rewriting the puzzle's code, in real time, using just her nervous system as an interface. That should be impossible, Veldan said. Apparently not for humans, Elder, Kiorath observed. Mina wasn't just solving the puzzle. She was creating 17 different solutions simultaneously, each more elegant than the last. The shapes danced through the air in patterns so beautiful that even the angry aliens in the viewing area stopped to watch. The second trial is complete, she announced. What's next? But Veldan was no longer glowing white with excitement. His crystals had turned deep purple, which meant he was afraid. The final trial, he said reluctantly. Survival instinct. The floor beneath Mina opened up, and she dropped into a much larger chamber. This one looked like a jungle, but the plants were alien and dangerous. Strange creatures moved in the shadows between twisted trees. The air smelled of sulfur and decay. The pit of final testing, Veldan explained. Home to the most dangerous, predators from 47 different worlds. Survive for 1 hour, and you pass the final trial. As soon as he finished speaking, something roared in the darkness. Then something else answered from a different direction, and another from above. Mina found herself surrounded by creatures that had been designed by evolution to kill. There were things that looked like giant spiders with acid for blood, flying serpents with teeth like razors, creatures that could become invisible and strike without warning. Any normal being would have been terrified. Most would have died within minutes. But Mina did something completely unexpected. She sat down on a fallen log and closed her eyes. What is she doing now? Nixra asked in frustration. I think, said Elder Kiorath slowly. She's listening. Mina's enhanced senses were picking up more than just the locations of dangerous creatures. She was hearing the entire ecosystem of the chamber, the way different species avoided each other, the natural rhythms of hunting and hiding, the delicate balance that kept this artificial jungle stable. A massive creature emerged from the trees. It looked like a bear crossed with a crocodile, with claws as long as swords and jaws that could crush metal. It approached Mina slowly, ready to attack. But instead of running or fighting, Mina did something extraordinary. She began to hum. The tune was simple but somehow perfect for the environment around her. It matched the natural frequencies of the jungle, blending with the sounds of wind through alien leaves and distant creature calls. The bear crocodile stopped just meters away from her, its head tilted to one side, confused by this strange behavior. Other creatures began to emerge from their hiding places, not to attack, but drawn by curiosity. The melody Mina was humming seemed to calm them, to make them feel safe. This is impossible, Dr. Morax said. Those creatures have killed thousands of challengers. They should be tearing her apart. Unless, Elder Kiorath said thoughtfully, she's found a way to communicate with them that we never considered. Mina opened her eyes and stood up slowly. The dangerous predators were now sitting around her in a rough circle, like pets waiting for their owner to give them attention. The trial isn't about surviving these creatures, she called up to the viewing area. It's about understanding them. They're not naturally aggressive. They're scared and confused because you've taken them from their homes and forced them to live together in an artificial environment. She reached out and gently petted the massive bear crocodile. It made a sound like purring. They don't want to kill me. They want to go home. With her enhanced connection to the chamber's systems, Minna began to modify the environment. She created separate territories for different species, gave them proper food sources, and adjusted the climate controls to make each area more comfortable. Within minutes, the pit of final testing had transformed from a place of death into a peaceful habitat where different species could coexist. The final trial is complete, Minna announced. But I'm not done yet. She looked up at Supreme Arbiter Veldan, whose crystal body was now flickering between so many colors that it was hard to look at him directly. You see, Minna continued, while I was taking your tests, I was also learning about the arena itself, and I discovered something very interesting. What did you discover? Veldan asked, though he sounded like he didn't really want to know. I discovered that the arena isn't really a testing ground at all. It's a control system. You use it to keep new species from joining the galaxy and challenging your power. The crowd of alien observers began making angry sounds. Many of them were realizing that their entire civilization was built on a lie. But that's about to change, Minna said with a smile that was both friendly and terrifying. The trials are over, Veldan said quickly. You have passed all 3 tests. Humanity is now granted membership in the galactic community. You may leave. Oh, I'm not leaving yet, Minna replied. I'm just getting started. And deep in the arena's control systems, programs that had run unchanged for thousands of years began to rewrite themselves according to new parameters. Parameters that a human named Minna had decided were long overdue for an update. The main arena chamber was in chaos. Thousands of alien beings were making sounds of confusion and anger, as their viewing screens showed impossible things happening throughout the massive structure. What is the human doing to our systems? Governor, Nixra demanded, his silver claws clicking nervously against his control panel. Supreme Arbiter. Veldan's crystal body was now pure black, which meant he was experiencing terror for the first time in centuries. She's rewriting the arena's core, programming, but that should be impossible. The security systems are impenetrable. Not to someone who understands patterns better than the people who built them, Elder Kiorath said with what might have been admiration in his ancient voice. Down in the former pit of final testing, Minna was still surrounded by creatures that should have killed her, but now they seemed to consider her a friend. The massive bear crocodile was actually letting her scratch behind its ears. You know what I realized while I was taking your tests? She called up to the viewing area. Her voice carried perfectly through the chamber's acoustics. Your arena isn't designed to find the strongest or smartest species. It's designed to eliminate anyone who might change things. She gestured around at the peaceful environment she had created. Look at this chamber. For hundreds of years, you've been forcing creatures from different worlds to fight and kill each other. But they don't want to fight, they just want to live in peace. Dr. Morax was frantically checking his instruments. She's accessing databases I didn't even know existed. She's found records of species that were rejected from galactic membership. How many? Asked Commander Ziltek. Hundreds, maybe thousands. All of them failed the trials and were sent back to their home worlds with restrictions against space travel. Minna's enhanced hearing picked up their conversation easily. That's right. And do you want to know what happened to most of those species? She touched one of the chamber's wall panels, and suddenly every screen in the arena showed the same information. Historical records that had been hidden for millennia. They died out, Minna continued. Not because they were weak, but because you cut them off from the resources they needed to survive. Planets that were running out of food. Worlds where the sun was dying. Species that needed to find new homes but were forbidden from traveling to other systems. The viewing area erupted in arguments. Some aliens were angry at Minna for revealing their secrets. Others were horrified to learn what their civilization had been doing. The human lies, Nixra shouted. Those species failed the trials fairly. They were not worthy of galactic citizenship. Really? Minna asked. She touched another control panel, and the screens changed to show live images from dozens of different star systems. Let me show you some of the species you rejected. The first image showed a world covered in beautiful crystal cities. The beings living there looked like living gemstones with graceful, artistic movements. The Crystalline Collective. Rejected 400 years ago because they refused to fight in your physical trials. They believe violence is evil. But look at what they've accomplished on their own. The images showed incredible works of art, advanced technology that worked in harmony with nature, and cities that seemed to sing with beautiful music. They've solved the problem of unlimited clean energy. They've learned how to heal diseases that we thought were incurable. They've created art that can actually make people happier just by looking at it. The next image showed an ocean world where intelligent sea creatures had built magnificent underwater cities. The deep swimmers. Rejected because they couldn't survive in your land-based trials. But they've mapped every ocean current in their star system and learned how to predict weather patterns centuries in advance. More images followed. Each one showed a species that the arena had rejected but had gone on to accomplish amazing things on their own. Do you see the pattern? Mina asked. Every species you rejected went on to solve problems that you couldn't solve. Every species you accepted was one that thought like you already did. Elder Kiorath's bark-like skin was glowing brighter, which meant he was thinking very hard. She's right. We haven't been finding the best species to join us. We've been finding the ones most similar to ourselves. So what if we have? Veldan said defensively. The galactic order has been stable for thousands of years. Stable, yes, Mina replied, but also stagnant. When was the last time any of your species made a major breakthrough in science? When was the last time you solved a problem that had been troubling you for centuries? She gestured at her transformed trial chamber. I've been here for less than 6 hours, and I've already improved 3 different systems that you couldn't figure out in 1,500 years. Dr. Morax looked at his readings again. The energy efficiency of the arena has improved by 30% since she started making changes, and the environmental systems are working better than they have in decades. Because I'm not trying to maintain your system, Mina said. I'm trying to make it better. And that's what humans do. We look at something that works and ask, how can we make it work better? She touched another control panel, and this time, the changes were visible throughout the entire arena. Lights became brighter but used less energy. Air circulation improved, making the atmosphere more comfortable for all species. Even the food production systems started working more efficiently. Stop this immediately, Nixra ordered. You have passed the trials. Take your species membership and leave our arena alone. No, Mina said simply, because I've found something else in your databases, something that makes this personal. The screens changed again, this time showing images from Earth's solar system, but not recent images. These were from hundreds of years ago. Humanity was supposed to be tested by the arena long ago, Mina said. When we first developed radio signals, when we first launched satellites, when we first sent probes to other planets, the images showed arena ships observing Earth from a distance, taking notes on human development. But you decided not to invite us for trials. Do you know why? The viewing area went very quiet, because your computers predicted that humans had a high probability of passing all 3 trials, not just passing them but changing them, just like I'm doing now. Veldan's crystal body was flickering so rapidly it was making other aliens dizzy to look at him. That information is classified. Not anymore, Mina said. I've unlocked all your classified files, including the ones about the other species you were too afraid to test. She touched the control panel one final time, and every restricted database in the arena opened up. Thousands of years of hidden information became available to anyone who wanted to see it. The arena has never been about finding worthy species, Mina announced to the thousands of watching aliens. It's been about preventing change, about keeping power concentrated in the hands of a few old species who are afraid of being challenged. But that ends today. Throughout the arena, systems that had controlled galactic civilization for millennia began to shut down, not destructively but peacefully, replaced by new programs that operated on completely different principles. What have you done? Veldan asked in a voice like shattering glass. Mina smiled, and for the first time since arriving at the arena, It was a genuinely happy smile. "I've opened the doors," she said. "Every species that was ever rejected can now come back and show what they can really do. Every young civilization that was kept isolated can now join the galaxy as equals." The arena is finished, but something better is about to begin. 3 months later, the structure that had once been the Nexus Arena looked completely different. The dark, intimidating walls had been replaced with transparent materials that let in starlight from all directions. The spaces that had once been used for deadly trials were now filled with laboratories, workshops, and meeting rooms where different species worked together. Minna stood in what used to be the main viewing chamber, looking out at the busiest section of the galaxy. Ships from hundreds of different worlds came and went constantly, carrying beings who were eager to share their knowledge and learn from others. "I still cannot believe you did all this," said Guide Torek, who had become Minna's friend and assistant. The lizard-like being was holding a data pad that showed the latest reports from around the galaxy. "I didn't do it alone," Minna replied. "Every species that was rejected by the arena had ideas that the galaxy needed. I just opened the door so they could share them." Through the transparent walls, they could see the crystalline collectives, artists working with human engineers to create buildings that were both beautiful and incredibly strong. In another section, the deep swimmers were teaching other species about ocean farming techniques that could feed entire planets. The old arena rejected over 2,000 different species, Torek said, reading from his data pad. "In just 3 months, they have solved problems that plagued us for centuries. The energy crisis affecting 7 star systems, the food shortage on the outer rim worlds, even the communication problems between species that don't use sound." Elder Kiorath approached them, his tree-like body moving slowly but with purpose. Age had made him wise enough to recognize when change was necessary. The Galactic Council is finally ready to make it official, he told Minna. "They want to name you as the first director of cooperative development." "That's a fancy title," Minna said with a smile. "What does it actually mean?" "It means you would be in charge of everything that used to be the arena's responsibility. Greeting new species, helping them join the galactic community, coordinating research projects between different worlds." Minna thought about it for a moment. "Only if the position rotates between different species every few years, and only if every major decision is made by a council that includes representatives from all member civilizations." "Even the ones that used to control the arena?" Kiorath asked. "Especially them," Minna said. "They have thousands of years of experience managing galactic affairs. That knowledge is valuable even if their methods were wrong." Across the room, they could see former Supreme Arbiter Veldan working with a team of mixed species on improving the station's life support systems. His crystal body was now a steady blue color, which meant he was content. The fear and anger he had shown during Minna's trials had been replaced with something like relief. "He seems happier now," Torek observed. "He should be," Minna replied. "For the first time in centuries, he's actually helping people instead of just maintaining power." Even Governor Nixra had found a new role. His species' natural abilities for organization and planning made them excellent at coordinating complex projects between multiple worlds. He was currently managing the construction of 3 new space stations designed by the rejected species. "I have something to show you," Kiorath said, leading Minna to a different viewing area. "The latest reports from Earth." The screen showed images of Earth's space program, which had advanced incredibly fast since Minna's success at the arena. Human ships were now traveling to other star systems, carrying teams of scientists and diplomats eager to meet new civilizations. "Dr. Kim sends his regards," Kiorath said, showing her a personal message. "He says Park Sojin has volunteered for the next deep space mission. She wants to follow your example." Minna felt a warm feeling in her chest. "She'll do great. Humans are natural explorers." "Speaking of exploration," Torek said excitedly, "we've received contact requests from 47 new civilizations just this week. Young species that heard about the changes and want to join the galactic community. Any of them look interesting?" "All of them," Kiorath replied. "There's a species of living clouds that can predict stellar weather patterns. a civilization of beings made of living metal who have mastered gravity manipulation. Even a group of creatures that exist partially in another dimension and can see things the rest of us cannot. Minna nodded with satisfaction. Schedule meetings with all of them. No more trials, no more tests to prove worthiness. Just conversations to see how we can all help each other. As they continued to look out at the busy station, Dr. Morax approached with his latest research data. The octopus-like scientist had become one of Minna's strongest supporters after seeing how much the new system had improved scientific progress. The collaboration between species is producing results faster than we ever imagined, he reported. The crystalline collective's energy techniques combined with human manufacturing methods have created power sources that are 90% more efficient than anything we had before. And the deep swimmer's weather prediction methods combined with the cloud being's atmospheric knowledge means we can now prevent natural disasters on inhabited planets, added a new voice. Everyone turned to see Commander Ziltek floating nearby. The jellyfish-like being had initially opposed Minna's changes, but had become convinced when he saw how much they improved life for everyone. There's something else, Ziltek continued. The species we used to reject are teaching us things we never knew we didn't know. The metal beings showed us how to build structures that repair themselves. The dimensional creatures helped us understand how to communicate across impossible distances instantly. Minna walked to the center of the viewing area and looked out at the incredible scene around them. Ships from hundreds of worlds, beings working together who had never met before, and projects that would have been impossible under the old system. You know what the best part is? She said to her friends. What? They asked together. We're just getting started. Every day we discover new species with new ideas. Every week we solve problems that seemed impossible before. Every month the galaxy becomes a little bit better for everyone. Far below them, in what used to be the pit of final testing, the dangerous creatures had been returned to their home, worlds or placed in proper habitats. The space was now a garden where beings from different planets could meet and share meals in a peaceful environment. I received a message from your Dr. Kim yesterday, Kiorath told Minna. He wanted me to remind you of something. What's that? He said to tell you that they gave you a 2% chance of surviving, and you proved them wrong about everything. Minna laughed, a sound that had become familiar and welcome throughout the station. That's the thing about humans. We don't just prove people wrong about us, we prove them wrong about what's possible. A new alarm sounded, but it wasn't a warning. It was the signal that another ship carrying a new species had arrived and wanted to join the galactic community. Shall we go meet them? Torek asked. Absolutely, Minna replied, heading toward the docking bay with her friends following. I can't wait to see what they're going to teach us. As they walked through corridors filled with beings from across the galaxy, all working together on projects that would have seemed impossible just months before, Minna reflected on how much everything had changed. The arena had been designed to keep species separate and maintain the power of a few old civilizations. But now it had become something completely different. A place where diversity was celebrated, where different perspectives were valued, and where the question wasn't, are you worthy to join us? But what amazing things can we accomplish together? And it had all started because one human refused to accept that a 2% chance meant certain failure. You know, Minna said as they reached the docking bay where yet another new species waited to join their growing community. I think this is going to be the beginning of something incredible. Behind them, through the transparent walls of the HFY station, the stars themselves seemed to shine a little brighter as if the entire galaxy was excited about the possibilities that lay ahead. The age of the arena was over. The age of cooperation had begun, and it was going to be amazing.